Good morning, Photoshop students. What we're going to do this week, in light of another snow day, is I'm going to walk you through a few steps within the text in Chapter 5. I'm starting on page 141, and this will probably be a few steps on that exercise. We're going to be adjusting levels and using the Dodge Sponge Tool Healing Brush. So just to give you an idea of some things you can do. Just again, keep in mind I'm using CIS116P on my computer. You would have access to 6 in the lab on campus. So again, I'm starting on page 141, and I'm going to open up the file 5B start. So let me navigate to my folder and open up 5B start. There it is. Opening. Takes a minute to open. So what we're going to do is, as soon as that opens, is we're going to add an adjustment layer. So over here on the adjustments tab, once this image opens, we'll be able to add an adjustments layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some editing to this image of this model. So before I do anything, I'm going to resave it, because as we learn, we want to not mess up the original photo. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it model, model final. And I'm going to call mine model final working, because I'm going to go back and refer to it. Oops. Save that. So I'm going to add an adjustments layer. And the adjustments layer I want is, if this ever comes up, apologize for the wait. But I want to go to the option where I can add a histogram. So I want to click on the levels, and you'll notice that it's showing the darks and the high values, but also the gray tones and midpoint values. We want to adjust where those are. Now you're going to see some very, very subtle differences here when I do this. But if I click on the extreme dark point, actually before I do this, there's this button here that allows you to try to calculate a more accurate histogram. This does very subtle things in Photoshop, but you can do that to start and make some minor adjustments. And then what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to then adjust it further. So I'm going to move my low point. You'll see some very subtle changes. I'm trying to do this a little extremely there to show you the very subtle differences you might see within the actual image itself. So I'm going to drag this just enough so that the dark levels are around 23, 24 is fine. And then I'm going to adjust the gray tones as well, so that they are about 1.18 or so. It doesn't have to be exact. You could even type that value in here if you wanted, and it will adjust it. So that's the first part, and I'm going to return with another video on the next step, which is on page 143, using the healing brush tool.